Here in a world where all hope seems lost, greater is He who resides in us. God, we stand unshaken.
Hey, welcome to this week's sermon preview. I'm here with Pastor Nick. We're going through our Unshaken series in 1 Thessalonians. Nick, kind of give us a recap of last week and how that kind of ties into this week's passage.
Yeah, definitely. So this past week was all about this idea of Jesus coming back. And we, in the sermon, we talked about this Greek word parousia and the second coming, and how Jesus coming back is going to create the opportunity for all generations of the church and followers of Jesus to be gathered with Him and to be with Him forever, type of thing. Okay, so Paul, he takes that was chapter 4, verses 13 through 18, and then he switches focus a tiny bit within the same conversation in our passage today, which is chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. And so last week was about Jesus' second coming. This week is about what's called the day of the Lord, or the judgment that happens at Jesus' second coming, at the end times type of thing. So there's a direct connection between last week and this week. And we see some similarities actually between the two and some connections. So Lance, as you look at this passage, what is one of the biggest similarities that you see, or connection points between last week and this week?
Yeah. So I'd say verse 11 is kind of that same piece there where, Paul is saying, hey, encourage each other, continue to build each other up. But you guys are also already doing this. So it's not this like confliction, but it's actually, hey, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. So very much this emphasis on encouragement too, of like this, what I'm writing to you is designed to give you encouragement, to give you hope, and for you to keep moving forward in confidence in the Lord. And so we have that at the end of last week's passage, where it's like Jesus' second coming. This is good news. This is encouraging news. And so this week, the day of the Lord, the judgment of the Lord that's coming, this is actually good news for followers of Jesus. This is a reason to encourage each other and to build each other up. So we have this connection, and actually what we see sometimes in the church over the last, the history of the church, is oftentimes this passage is used to bring about like fear and kind of doom and gloom in the church, and that's really not Paul's intent at all. No, for those that are rejecting Jesus, okay, sure, like this is a warning, this is serious, but for those in the church, like this is a message of hope, of this isn't something that we're going to experience. And so in this passage we see this movement within of the day of the Lord is coming, judgment is coming, it's gonna be here. For those that aren't following Jesus, it's inescapable, it's gonna happen. But for the followers of Jesus, we don't receive the judgment and the wrath. We receive something else. At the end, it talks about we're destined for or appointed for salvation, right? So there's this stark contrast between those that are rejecting Jesus and those that are following Jesus. Lance, in there's kind of this picture that Paul uses to contrast. It's this difference between dark and light again, right? So as you think about dark and light, like what is the difference between dark and light?
Yeah, so when you think about being in the light, like everyone can see what you're doing. You can see what's around you, and there's a lot of hope. When it's a dreary day outside, it's like, oh man, you're down. But when the sun is shining, man, there's just something about like, oh man, it's almost like God's just bringing down that warmth to you. But then that darkness at night, it's hidden. That's kind of what we're seeing in this passage. It's like, hey, if you're in the darkness, if you're not sober minded, what are you hiding, or what are you trying to escape from?
Sure.
And so that's kind of that contradiction there.
Yeah, so we have this, and this is the difference between dark and light is a picture that the Bible uses over and over again.
Absolutely.
And that, Jesus coming, I mean, he is the light, and that light brings, like you said, that clarity and that transparency and all those things. So us as followers of Jesus, we are children of the light, and so we don't have to worry about the judgment or the darkness that comes within that, and but that is a reason for hope.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But also that's an encouragement towards living in a certain way, and so we'll talk more about that as well. So lots of things in this passage, and the hope is to dig deep into those of what does the coming judgment of Jesus mean for us as followers of Jesus? What does it mean for those that are not followers of Jesus? And what does that encourage us to do in how to live? In the meantime, we know Jesus is coming back. How are we supposed to live in the meantime? So, looking forward to it. See you then.
See you.
Nothing to fear in the battlefield. God is our hope.